Georgette loves dancing, music, people, and money. As a young teenager, she posed as her sister's mascot and would do, quote, anything she asked her to in exchange for some cash. Please welcome Georgette.
Wow, I feel like a star right now. For the very first time in a stage, share my story, and those people came from all the way from Kelowna to see me, and I really say, hey, hello. My name is Georgete. I was born and raised in Brazil. I grew up in a very small town in the interior. We were not rich. We lived a very simple life as I was growing up. We couldn't afford luxuries. Our entertainment was taking walks in the woods, bathing waterfalls, gathering with family and friends, or going to church. As many of you know, Brazil is a country of many different races. Indigenous, black people brought to Brazil during slavery, Europeans from Portugal and from the Netherlands. My father has an European background, and my mother has a native and African background. I always felt rejected by my father. I was the only one of my siblings who had darker skin. I also had siblings from my father's second wife because he was allowed to have a second wife. And my father treated them better than me. They were coming to school with brand new bags, clothes and shoes, and I was wearing the same old stuff every day. Sometimes I even got bullied because of that. So as a teenager, I dreamed of living a different life in a different place. When I turned 16, I ran away to Recife, the capital city of the state of Pernambuco. I had told my parents that I was going to live with this rich family, but they did not give me permission to go. My mother said, you are too young to go to a big city, live with strangers, work as a housemaid. We are not rich, but we have food, a roof over our heads, and we have our family. You are not going. I said, I'm going, Mom. You will see. My father said, you better listen to your mother and quiet down. 1 hour before my scheduled bus, which I was supposed to take, my parents left the house, and while I was in the shower, they locked the door and took the house keys with them. So I got ready, and when I tried to open the door, I couldn't. I didn't have the keys. So I didn't think twice. I jumped out the window. The window was about 4 to 6 meters high. My parents didn't think I would do that, but I did. I lived with this rich family for 4 years in Recife. I helped them with the housework and went to college at night for my high school and for my nursing program. I got my first job as a nurse at the biggest private hospital of Recife, where I worked for about 8 years in the neurosciences unit. One day at work, I heard this family speaking in English by the nurse station. I got very curious, so I approached them and asked, are you guys from the USA? They say, no, we are from Canada. A few minutes later, I entered the patient's room, Mr. Urineu, who was surrounded by his visiting family, the Canadians I just talked to. They spoke in Portuguese, so I did not hesitate and asked while smiling, can you take me with you to Canada? The woman looked at me and said, no, it's not that simple. First of all, you need to speak English. Also, you need a lot of money to get there. I said, well, I can at least learn English. I left the room smiling and thinking it was too funny that I did that. They would not take me seriously anyways, I thought. 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from Mr. Irineu daughter. Mr. Irineu was a cancer terminal patient. He was very weak. Despite his condition, he was still so loving, kind, and generous. So 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from Mr. Irineu's daughter. She asked, Georgete, were you serious about going to Canada? I said, yes. She said, my daughter is an immigration lawyer and she's going to help you to get there. I said, wow, I was really happy. So I started taking English courses immediately. They helped me with the entire immigration process. They got me a sponsorship. All I had to do was submit my documents to them, a lot of blood tests, an X-ray, and an interview with the Canadian consulate. I didn't even have to worry about the cost or anything. It was all taken care of. I moved to Canada in 2007. And 1 week after I had arrived in Canada, I met with Mr. Irineu's granddaughter for coffee. She told me that Mr. Irineu had passed away. I was very sad to hear that. He was a very nice gentleman. But it didn't come as a surprise. However, I had not anticipated what Mr. Irineu's granddaughter told me next. She said, Georgete, do you know why you are here? Do you have any idea how things just worked out for you to get here without worrying about anything? I said, yes, because you helped me. She said, do you remember that day at the hospital in my grandfather's room when you asked me to bring you to Canada? I said, yes, I remember. She said, as soon as you left the room, my grandfather said to me, my granddaughter, if there is anything you want to do for me before I die, please help Georgete to go to Canada. That's the only thing I ask you. I was voiceless. I cried a lot. He was a very good human being. I will always remember him. I continued my journey, and 1 month later, I saw snow for the very first time. I felt like I was in those Christmas movies that I saw on TV. I was so happy. I took lots of pictures and I called my family to tell them what I was seeing. I decided to take some prerequisite courses at Vancouver Community College. Then I took a healthcare assistant program and an acute care skills program. I had 2 graduation ceremonies. That made me feel really good. There I was at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre receiving my certificates in Vancouver, Canada. That made me feel really good and it meant a lot to me. I got my first job with Vancouver Coastal Health as a community health worker in the Richmond area. 2 years later, I was offered a job position at UBC Hospital in the extended care unit. And then I was offered a position in the operating room at the same hospital. I love working at my current job. in the burns and traumas unit at VGH. I also enjoy volunteering in different locations such as Bard on the Beach, Van Dusen Garden, and at the church. I miss my family a lot, but I'm able to talk to them through WhatsApp and telephone. It's hard for me during Christmas and Thanksgiving time though without them. I live with my partner Susan. We have nothing in common. She loves poems. I find them really boring because I don't understand what they mean. I like salsa dancing. She has two left feet. I like playing guitar. She finds my guitar playing really annoying because I tend to play the same songs over and over, especially if it's a song I'm trying to perfect. Just like that song from the Cranberries band, Zombie. In your hand, zombie, zombie. She's got, shut up! She's here. Despite all our differences and challenges, we love and support each other. Finally, I'm grateful for all the challenges I had to go through. I'm very grateful for having my Canadian citizenship. I'm very grateful for all the things I have achieved in this country. Most importantly, I'm very grateful for that patient, Mr. Irineu. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. Thank you very much.